As great as slow-cooked meals and all-day sauces taste, most of us don't have several hours to dedicate to just one dish. And that's why I've slashed the cooking time on some of my favorite comfort foods without sacrificing flavor. Join me in the kitchen and I'll show you how. When you're in the mood for homemade seafood, octopus might not be the first thing that comes to mind, but it's really not scary to make and it's super delicious. Ever since our first trip to Cuba a few years ago, I could not get this grilled octopus out of my mind. At this particular restaurant, they would grill it till it had a nice char and then topped it with a chunky, garlicky pesto. It's amazing. The main issue with cooking octopus is that it can sometimes be rubbery. And if you Google it, you'll find a million hacks that people come up with to combat this. Some people say you have to boil it with a wine cork, others say you have to smack it against a rock first, but today we're just gonna cook it right inside this pressure cooker and it'll do the job for us. To make sure our octopus has some flavor while it cooks, we're going to add in some onions and some garlic. We've smashed it just to give it a head start. Some black peppercorns, dried oregano, and lastly, we have a bay leaf, some thyme, and a couple dashes of salt. We want just enough water to cover. Now let's turn this on. Since octopus doesn't have bones, there's a ton of connective tissue that takes usually a couple hours to break down. But in here, it'll just be 15 minutes. We're gonna cook on high pressure for just 15 minutes. Just make sure your vent is set to sealing, and that's it. It's really that easy. Our 15 minutes have passed, so let's do a quick release on the pressure. And just get out of the way. All right, our lid has unlocked and it's safe to open it. It looks so good, but let's check to make sure it's finished. Just lift it up and pierce it with a paring knife. If it goes all the way through without resistance, which this one did very easily, we're good to go. If it doesn't go through easily, just close it up and put it back in for another minute or two. And let's let it cool in this cooking liquid to retain all that moisture and flavor. All right, our tender octopus has cooled, so let's just cut the tentacles off and get it ready to grill. Cool, and so this is all edible, so we're gonna cut it up into smaller pieces as well. All right, let's season these up. We're going to use a little bit of black pepper, some crushed red pepper, as much or as little as you like. There's no recipe for this part. A drizzle of oil, and then lastly, some sea salt. Just a few sprinkles of sea salt. This is good to go. I'm gonna give it a quick stir to make sure all of the seasonings have gotten to each piece of the octopus, and we'll preheat our grill pan and get this grilling. All right, our grill pan is hot. Let's get these tentacles on there. So remember, the octopus is already cooked, so we're just grilling it here to get a nice char on the outside to add some crispiness. After about 3 minutes, you'll get some great grill marks and that crispiness that we are looking for. Now comes the pesto. There's basil in it, of course, but we also have some oregano to pick up on the oregano that's in our cooking liquid. There's also some Parmesan cheese, some pine nuts. It's so flavorful, and I left it pretty chunky because that's how I like it, but you can swap in any other herbs that you want, and you can even buy store-bought. That's totally fine. All right, cool. Looking good. I want to add some more garnishes to pretty this up. We have the Parmesan cheese that went in the pesto. Let's just add some bigger slices on top. Smokiness of the char. We have the garlicky richness of the pesto. I think we could probably use some lemon to freshen it up. And anybody can just squeeze it on themselves if they like. All right, guys. I'm ready to eat this. There's so many flavors going on. All those ingredients that we put into the cooking liquid really got into the octopus. And then when we charred it, it added this smokiness and this crunch from the grill. And then lastly, the pesto added a nice freshness and salty bite. It's so good and didn't take too long at all. If you've ever been scared to make octopus at home, I hope this recipe really gives you some confidence. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.